Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Lillian C.J. Wong, and the board member of INPM, and I'm vice president of the Meaning-Centered Counseling Institute. Well, for some of you, welcome back to today's second webinar. But we do want to extend a warm welcome to all of you to Dr. Paul Wong's webinar on why is Viktor Frankl's cure essential for overcoming COVID-19. And after Dr. Wong's presentation, there will be a short Q&A session, and it will be moderated by Tim Yu and Miga Leong. Now, please use chat to send in your questions. Obviously, we cannot answer all the questions, but Dr. Wong will answer the questions through postings on our website. Now, this webinar is recorded. For registered participants who are unable to attend the live session due to time zone differences, we will send the recording 2 weeks after the live chat. And Dr. Paul Wong will offer an online course on this topic in the fall, and it will be part of the requirements for certification in meaning therapy. All right, there is Dr. Paul Wong.
Hello again. This morning we mentioned that in the era of COVID-19, we need a new science of suffering to complete the circle of well-being. This afternoon, I want to focus on meaning therapy. Now, research shown that in the last 30 years, cognitive behavioral therapy has become less and less effective. I thought the reason might be that in a world full of horrors and dangers, many problems in life cannot be explained away simply in terms of rational thinking. Because horrible things happen to good people. And for example, a child could be abused by the father and abandoned by the mother. The trauma the child experienced could last a lifetime. Also, a woman I know was abused by her priest, and she had to go through 30 years of suffering therapy to recover. So the Holocaust is one of those situations where people literally went through hell. And Frankl was able to refine and develop a local therapy, okay? And so today we want to see why Frankl is relevant to us. Now, whatever your mental condition, your stress prior to the pandemic, now it is amplified, okay? But like a Chinese word, any crisis can be transformed into an opportunity. See, Frankl thinks that the mental health crisis we face can be an opportunity for personal growth. And Frankl is considered him a prophet of hope, a pioneer in existential positive psychology. He's a successful neurologist and psychiatrist and founder of local therapy. Here's something. Here's an interesting graph. most people are quite resilient. Only a segment of people experience PTSD after the trauma. Another segment experience post-traumatic growth. So in other words, you do not have to belong to this depressed, anxiety, suicidal group. Okay? Now the difference between hell and heaven is a fine line. It's a matter of belief. Okay? It's not what happened to you, but how you respond that makes the difference. Okay? The how you respond depends on your mindset, depends on your belief. So that's why in immunotherapy, your belief system, your core belief and core value is very important. Now here is the situation, okay? Suppose you're condemned to a life of hard work, like this guy, this Albert Camus spoke about Sisyphus. He was condemned to push a rock uphill only to see it roll down again. Now, what option does he have? Think about that. What option for a guy in that situation? Albert Camus will say the worst option is suicide. And suicide doesn't solve anything. Suicide to him is the worst option. The second option is doing nothing. This is also pretty terrible. Remember earlier this morning, I mentioned that doing nothing is worse than doing hard labor. Doing hard labor, you're engaged. But doing nothing, you got nothing to do, you're going crazy. Because your mind cannot take boredom. Your mind will wander around and get into second to black hole. So there are only two options left. One option, Frankl believed that you can take a leap of faith. Trusting God can help you to go solve the problem. But if you do not believe in anything, like Albert Camus, he's an atheist, okay? Well, there's still an option. That means you can revolt against your faith and struggle against engaging daily struggle. So I imagine that this Sisyphus can improve his speed of pulling the rock to the top, getting to be more and more efficient and getting more and more faster, so he can stand on the top hill, enjoy the sight, and congratulate him for his progress. So that's why Albert Camus says that the struggle itself could fill his heart with joy. So you can find victory and joy in the struggle. Now, here's something interesting. Frankl himself said that as a young man, I had to go through hell in order to find meaning. So in fact, even when I was 4 years old, he was terrified about the idea of death. So all through his life, he's struggling. He's a meaning in life, when he's suffering, when he's dead. So many people who have a sensitive soul, who have whose mind is who have a big brain, and so we sometimes we are both blessed and cursed with a powerful brain, because our brain enables us to imagine our own mortality, to think about our future, what will happen. So he struggled also his life. When he was in the concentration camp, all the ideals soon become more crystallized. During his concentration camp, he is convinced that human beings do not have to live like animals or machines. Human beings can still maintain their dignity as human beings because they have a soul, because they have a spiritual core. The spiritual core, the spiritual dimension enable them to transcend the horrors of life. So logotherapy simply says that our spiritual core for most people was blocked because we're so busy making money, so busy enjoying material things, so busy in competition. Okay? So logotherapy is trying to remove the blockage and awaken our will to meaning. Will to meaning allow you to squeeze out some positive meaning from every situation, enable you to turn suffering into triumph. Now, we'll talk more about will to meaning. So the key for meaning therapy and logotherapy is that you have a will to meaning. Human beings are capable of exercising human agency and responsible and responsibility. Now, in Frankl's system, responsibility is very important. He used the word responsibleness. You're always responsible for something and to someone. If you do not have a sense of responsibility, then you drift into the world of nihilism. Okay? You should be able to ask yourself, what should I do with my life? See, that is a human question. He asked that many young people going through the identity crisis, asking, who am I? What am I? What should I do with my life? What role do I play in this world? So this is a natural question that happens to everyone. The good thing is that we are capable of taking a stand and making a courageous choice. So that's the key. We have the freedom of choice. Because we have volition, we have a will. We either choose to spend our life in pursuing pleasure, or we can spend our life, devote our life to pursuing power. But we also can choose to pursue meaning. So whatever you pursue as your end goal depends on how you exercise your volition, how to exercise your will. So the pursuit of meaning begins with the responsible exercise of choosing to make meaning your terminal goal. There are three basic tenets in logotherapy. You have freedom of will, not only freedom from some negative conditions, from your genetic determination, from bad environment, but you also have freedom to do something rewarding. So freedom is a double-edged sword. Secondly, you have a will, I mentioned earlier, your will to meaning. You'll be able to take a stand and make a decision to choose to search for meaning as your primary goal. The last point is that meaning can be found in all situations until your last breath. So that's very, very positive thinking, right? You can find meaning until the last breath of your life. So Frankl emphasized that logotherapy is a spiritually oriented therapy. In fact, many seminaries teach logotherapy. Okay? Logotherapy is designed to make clients aware of their need for meaning and their responsibility to live a meaningful life. Okay? He says that in as much as logotherapy make him aware of his hidden logos of existence. So it is an analytical process. So logotherapy and existential analysis go together, okay? They help you that everybody has a hidden logos. Here's something to ponder on. Life is tragic. The tragic triad of pain, guilt, and death. To be alive is to suffer pain. To be alive is to suffer from guilt, and also we end up with death. Now, many people deny the guilty feeling, but it's difficult. Imagine in a moment of anger, you say some harsh word to a daughter, and she could not handle that. She killed herself. So that mother will feel guilty for the rest of her life. Why should I say such things to my daughter? She cannot forgive herself. So often people do terrible things to other people. Often in a moment of anger, saying horrible things, and only to regret later on. So guilt is a major source of suffering. If the tragic triad is not taken care of, it will develop into mental illness, depression, aggression, and addiction. The good thing is that Frankl mentioned that there is an antidote to the tragic triad. The antidote is the meaning triangle. Okay? You can always create meaning in 3 ways. Creative meaning means that you contribute something to the world through your work. And anybody can contribute something to the world, regardless what your vocation is, regardless what line of work. Everybody can make a unique contribution. Okay? So that is a fertile place to develop meaning. The second area is experience. You can experience something with appreciation. Appreciate your relationship with your wife, appreciate good music, appreciate nature, appreciate your encounter with different other people. So appreciative attitude allow you to discover meaning from experience. Finally, if you do not have the opportunity to do creative work and you do not have passion experience, you can always choose to take a defiant stand towards suffering. Choose a courageous attitude. Okay? So these 3 things allow you to overcome the triad. So Frankl's concept of tragic optimism, that it is possible to remain optimistic in spite of the tragic trial. Okay? Here is another trial. Instead of the tragic neurotic triad, you can have tragic optimism. So freedom means that you have the courage to take a stand to decide what you do with your life, to decide to do what is right. Regardless of your bad habit, bad instance, bad experience, temptation, you can always take a stand to do the right thing. That is the key to turn your life around. Then no matter what you've gone through, it doesn't matter. Every moment is a moment for rebirth. You can say, now I want to take a stand, make a courageous choice to go this way rather than continue my path of self-destruction. Now, situation meaning is very important to Frankl. Frankl said, don't waste your time asking the meaning of life. What's the meaning of life? If you can find meaning in every situation, you will find the meaning of life. Okay, so every situation has a potential for meaning. Okay, the search for situation meaning can be facilitated by our goal belief. Now, you believe that life has meaning, then it's easier for you to find the situation meaning. Okay. Here's another thing: stimulus and response. As a human being, your response does not have to be a knee-jerk reflex. You can go through, you have the freedom of choice between stimulus and response. In that brief period, you can be aware of yourself, you can imagine what can be done, you can consult your conscience, you can assert your independent view. So this brief seconds between the stimulus and response make you a human being. So during those limited time, I call that 3-second rule. Your 3 seconds can make a difference, can change your life. The first second is that simply ask yourself, what's happening? So you practice self-detachment or mindful observation. In other words, observe with an open mind. What's happening? Do not jump to conclusion. Many bad things happen because you accuse somebody, because you see something. You force to accuse the other person without finding out what's happening. So the first thing to do is ask yourself, what is happening? The second question to ask yourself is that what choices do I have to? Should I attack, scold him, or should I ask for explanation? Your choices. So that buy you another second. Once you consider your choices, you no longer follow your bad habit, follow your instinct, respond in a knee-jerk fashion. The third question, most important, what is the right thing to do? At that moment, you become acting like a mature human being. You begin to consult your conscience, consult your core value, consult God to do the right thing. If you follow this 3-second rule, it can save you from all kinds of conflict, all kinds of troubles. Many fights in couples is because they react to what they see violently, instinctively, without finding out the true meaning. So now back to will to meaning. Okay, Frankl say the will to meaning is the basic striving of human being to fulfill meaning and purpose. The basic striving. It's not a drive, it's a motivation, it's an act of volition. So Frankl always says that meaning is not a drive in the sense of hunger or thirst, but a spiritual motivation is a volition. That being human, having a spiritual core, we're always motivated to serve something greater than ourselves. The will to meaning, together with the freedom of ability, make it possible to serve, to choose something with objective value. So meaning is not just all subjective. If we choose something worthwhile, that object creates some objective values. Existence is not only intentional, but also transcendental. Self-transcendence is the essence of human existence. Now think about that. Human being, the essence of human being is self-transcendence. As a human being, you do not live for food or comfort at the material level. As a human being, you're always directed to something other than yourself. You're always directed to something bigger than yourself. If you haven't discovered that part, then you're doomed to live a two-dimensional life. So that's Frankl. Now, means therapy is my way, my attempt to expand Frankl therapy and to incorporate that in with positive psychology. So means therapy simply said that therapy, the motto of means therapy is meaning is all we have. Relationship is all we need. When you're doing therapy, you focus on the meaning that your client brings to the room. Relationship is all you have because you don't establish a trusting relationship with your client, you will not be able to understand his meaning, his world meaning, or helping the person. So this is based on Frankl. Now, here is the success failure dimension that I call horizontal living. Most people operate at the success failure level. If you operate at this level, then you never win, because if you're successful, you live a shallow life. I have many clients who are successful in everything, but still complain that their life has no meaning. So if you're very successful, you still live a shallow life. Of course, if you fail, your life is wasted. On the other hand, if you do a change, you'll be able to say, I choose to live a meaningful life. I choose to discover, to seek what's meaningful. Once you switch to this dimension, then your life is transformed. You know why? But instead of seeking success, you seek what is meaningful. Once you make meaning your terminal value, make meaning your life goal, then if you are successful, you live an ideal life. If you are not successful, you still live a meaningful life. Like Van Gogh, he never sold a single painting. But most people say Van Gogh's life is meaningful because it creates such beauty, creates such value for generations to enjoy. So you can't lose, right? If you switch to meaning, you can't lose. You always win. You either live an ideal life, or live a meaningful life. So that's why meaning therapy is trying to help people to see, if you stay in this level, your life can never be truly fulfilling. Here is a life adaptation skill we use. For example, here's one item. I would rather be a happy pig than a sad saint. Many people would rather be a happy pig. So here's the orientation to see at what level. Now, meaning therapy, some say, well, meaning therapy is CBT plus. Now, here example. Now, CBT belongs to the ABC paradigm. You have activating event, you are thinking, and you have emotional behavior. That this activating when you're thinking. Yeah. But immunotherapy add two more elements: your core belief and core value. So they enable you to make different choices. See? So your emotional behavior no longer just determined by your current thinking, but your emotion and behavior is also determined by your core value and core belief. You see? So that's why add another dimension to your therapy. Here's a very interesting. Often people come to me, I can pretty well tell why they get in trouble. So I often say, for physical life, we need air, we need water, we need food. Water is like relationship. Air is like faith. Food is like meaning. So if we're lacking in any of these three areas, our life will not, our mental life will not be sorry. Our mental life will not be healthy because this three area, once this area is well developed, your life become much better. Also, there's also an iron triangle we mentioned earlier this morning. You need courage. Because without courage, you can't face the horror of life. People do evil things to other people. The terrible things happen every day. You see on television. Life is, there's a dark side of life. So when you have courage, we need to turn to accept reality. We need to learn how to transform. So if we have courage, we need to turn to accept and transform. So two triangles together, we will be successful. So meaning, I mentioned earlier, there's four elements of meaning. And meaning therapy, you can, the therapy saying that you can transform tragedy into triumph by reframe your problem into a larger, meaningful story. That's meaning coping. You can always find some meaning, extract some meaning in bad situation, and you can reach out to community for social support. You can treat every failure as a stepping stone for future success. You can also explore the mystery of the invisible realm. This world, the universe is mysterious place. So you can always explore the invisible transcendental realm for inspiration and for comfort. And also you can explore new values. You can incorporate into your life story of hero's triumph journey. You can incorporate all that into a hero's life. So you can transform, you don't have to be a victim. You can always transform your victim into a hero's journey. Here, we mentioned earlier, the meaning has three functions. It helps you to grow. Growth function, because if you have a meaningful goal, you improve yourself, you strive toward the goal, you grow. Meaning also have resilient function. Because you are reason for suffering, then you'll be able to endure suffering. Right? You have a resilient mindset, you can overcome any suffering. Meaning also has a protective function. It tells you a danger you need to avoid. Avoidable, some danger can be avoided, so you avoid danger. So together, you can enjoy a life of well-being. Now, what are Frankl's unique contribution, okay? First of all, he provides new insight into the persistent question about meaning, because many people ask about meaning of life and about meaning of suffering. So he provides a complete answer based on his experience. He elevates meaning as both the solution to the problem and foundation for personal growth. So meaning is not just something there, but meaning serves the function of make the problem more bearable, make suffering more bearable, also make suffering the foundation for personal growth, as we discussed earlier this morning. He elevates human dignity, that you can restore human dignity and intrinsic value of life. You can say yes to life anytime. So to him, psychotherapy is more than just technique. Techniques often can be used to manipulate people. But real therapy is beyond science, beyond technique. It involves the wisdom of living, okay? He said, we may redefine the helping profession as called upon to help patients in the basic and ultimate human aspiration of finding meaning. So all helping professions are called upon to help clients to discover the meaning. And he calls therapy as a depth therapy and high therapy. Will help clients to reach the height of development through specialty. So that's my annual talk, and I'm open for questions. Okay, the first question: can a person be not ready for change be granted a meaning in life? This question failed to understand that meaning in life is not something to be given, but something to be discovered by yourself. Nobody can give you a meaning of life. You have to make decisions that I'm sick and tired of being me. I'm sick and tired of the rat race or the treadmill. And then once you're ready to change, then say, I want to find something more meaningful. Life is short, I want to find something that really matters. So at that point, you're able to discuss meaning. So no therapist can give meaning to the client. A therapist can guide the client in the pathways like creative paths, experiential paths, or attitude paths, can show them the pathways where they can find meaning, but never give meaning to the client. The second question. Okay, how could you find 3 avenues to help people from a negative self-belief to affirmative? Okay, how to change a negative core belief system to an affirmative resilient one. Now, beliefs is often based on our life experience. Core belief is the most difficult thing to change. Core belief is sometimes more difficult to change than habits because it's based on your schema, your life experience. So it's not something that can be changed. So the first way I usually help clients to change is that point out that they are very unhappy with their beliefs. Their old belief system has bring them nothing but troubles. They realize their old belief does not work. You will continue to die in misery. The old belief does not work. So that's the first point. Once they realize that the core belief doesn't work, then they're ready to change. So the second step will say, now, you have to find out what is best for you. Is the best for you. But according to all research, how to get from A to B, the safest path is the path of meaning. All research show that. Okay, this is not based on my opinion. It's based on empirical scientific research. You choose meaning, choose something has objective value, choose to create something bigger than yourself. The same thing to change is that life is not just about you. You always think about me. That's why you're miserable. Life is also about how to serve other people, how to bring happiness to other people. So the same way to change your old core belief is that stop thinking about you. Start thinking about other people. How you can contribute something to your parents, to your spouse, to society, to your country. You're able to transcend yourself. This is the second way to change your core belief. That life is not just about me. Life is about creating some objective value, to add some value to the land and occupy. I have to produce something. In my fruit, in my tree does not produce any fruit. That tree should be cut down. So the second way to change your core value is that I need to live for something more than myself. The third way to change your core belief is that life is not receiving only good things. Life is to appreciate the struggle, appreciate the experience. So you will believe that meaning can be discovered in every situation, then you're a much happier person because that gives you hope. They allow your eyes to, we often see what we believe. You believe there's nothing in this world except money and material things. Then you'll never discover the beauty and goodness in life. On the other hand, you will say that beauty and goodness in every situation. You believe, you have this core belief, your belief will lead you to discover those values. So these are my 3 things that can help you to change your core belief. Let me have a sip of tea. The third question. What are your thoughts on the Chinese government with oppression of Tibetan, spirit freedom of Tibetan? It seems that the Chinese government is trying this. Okay, that's a good example. You know, I'm very, very impressed with the freedom fighters in China, in Russia, everywhere, everywhere, when the government is authoritarian. In Hong Kong, there are many young people. There's a professor, for example, the one professor lost her job in Hong Kong University because he took part in a protest. So there are many young people went to jail because they take a stand for freedom. So life is not just about, the Bible says, man shall not live by bread alone. Some governments think that if people have food to eat, they should be happy. But people are spiritual beings. They're not just happy with food. They want to fulfill their potential. They want to pursue their dreams, their values. That's why I am really impressed with the young people, with many idealists, pastors, and professors who take a stand. See, they take a stand against an oppressive regime. They take a stand for freedom, even though they know it involves risk. So this is a good demonstration of the freedom of attitude. The freedom of attitude, the spiritual freedom, is the ultimate freedom. Okay. How do you distinguish between tragic optimism and optimistic pessimism? Okay, that's a good question. Okay. Optimistic pessimism and tragic optimism is the same thing. Optimistic pessimism means that accept the reality as bad. It's bad. But you also believe that something good can come out of that. So that's optimistic. This optimistic pessimism is same as tragic optimism, because that optimism grows out of a tragic situation. So they are still the same thing. How will you define success? Okay, that's a good question. Success is not defined by recognition, by money. Success is defined by whether you create some objective value that makes some positive change in other people. So that's why Van Gogh never saw any painting in his life, but his painting are still very expensive, still being appreciated by people around the world. So success, the spiritual dimension of success, that if your life, what you do, please God, that's success. If your life, you will pursue, have a positive effect on other people, that's success. So therefore, even when I have no job, when I'm not recognized, I don't consider myself a failure. As long as I pursue some value, as long as I grow every day, improve myself, and make contribution to other people. So success, ultimately, is defined by your ultimate concern. What is your ultimate concern? what is your terminal goal value? If your terminal goal value is a material gain or power, then it doesn't matter how successful, you still miss the boat. Okay? Which one? Okay, next question. I'm a coach, not a therapist. Well, meaning therapy can often be, can meaning therapy be translated into coaching? Okay, here's my explanation. There's a fine line between therapy and coaching. In therapy, often imply there's some deficit, there's something broken needs to be fixed. In coaching means that you are helping people who do not have any serious problem. So many of my clients, for example, right now I have a client who is a successful person, but he wants to make his life richer. He talks to me every other week. He just wants to learn more about life. So this is a case of coaching. I'm not, he doesn't have any serious problem that needs to be fixed. He just wants to live better life, become a better person. So we have a conversation every other week. So I'm doing coaching in this case, okay? Next question. How to induce, okay. Means center therapy, how to introduce this therapy in a session as individuals are so angry with trauma and avoid an experience. Yeah. How to get client to talk about the suffering. Okay. I usually don't use the word meaning therapy, but they know from reading my advertising, they know I do meaning therapy. When a client comes to me very angry with the trauma and very resistant to talk about experience, but the fact that he come to see you indicate that he needs help. So often it takes time to build trust, to feel that you have created a safe environment for him to talk about his trauma, to share with you. So that's the beginning. You cannot impose on him. You have to allow him time to trust you. Anybody has a need to tell their story. That's human nature. We all want to share our problem with someone. Once he can trust you, he'll open up. I'm lucky in a sense that people think they can trust this old man, so they open up pretty fast. Okay, but eventually, if you can sense that you are trustworthy, they open up, and then we can easily say, well, helping them to accept what cannot be changed. That's the first step of meaning. Then help them to believe that they can still create a new future for themselves. Vulnerability is the meaning, accepting the meaning, believe the meaning. So the several components of meaning therapy. Okay, so you'll learn more. But today I rush through. This afternoon I'm a little bit tired, rush through. But in the course I'll explain more to you. Okay, time is up. I'm sorry, I can't. Other questions, I'll answer them on the website. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Well, I just want to thank you for your participation and for those questions. And Paul has covered a whole lot of materials. And these materials would be organized with the expanded into online courses for the fall. So please follow our activities and events on our website, meaning.ca. Now, lastly, I wanted to thank Tim Yu and Tim Ten for the technical support on site. And during this unprecedented pandemic season, I want to say, please take care and stay safe. We wish you all the best. And we want to say thank you and bye-bye for now.